Welcome into our Padres postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. Another tough night for the Padres in Anaheim. Final score, Angels 3 and the Padres 2 as the Padres head to Anaheim and they are swept at the hands of the Los Angeles Angels. Padres dropped to below 500 at 32 and 33. Angels improved to 24 and 38. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. A lot to do on our postgame coverage. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit. Recap this game and much, much more to come. But first, let's talk about this one. This series, this game, not fun at all for the San Diego Padres. I alluded to this last night. You think about where the Padres were just more than 72 hours ago, 3 outs away from sweeping the Royals, a win that would have put them a season-high 4 games above 500. And my goodness, baseball can come at you fast, right? They lose that game on Sunday as the Royals score 3 runs in a span of 4 batters against Yuki Matsui. And just really a nightmarish series up in Anaheim against the Angels, a series where the Padres got a grand total of just 5 runs scored against an Angels pitching staff that entered this series the third most runs given up in baseball, and an Angels team that was on a 5-game losing skid entering this series, not to mention the overall record, which was 21 and 38. But this game in particular here tonight, really a couple of issues. Number one, look, Dylan Cease, you'll look at the final line, 6 innings, 3 runs given up. He was able to settle in, and by the definition, gave you a quality outing. But the Padres got put in a tough spot here tonight. The leadoff home run by Shawnuel, 2-run home run by Zach Neto in the second inning, and by the end of the second, the Padres were down 3-0. But the Padres offense, like we talked about pregame, they have to be able to do more against a team like this. Yes, Jose Soriano throws hard. Yes, his numbers were pretty good over the course of this season. But this was, again, just a very, very quiet night for the Padres offense for the third time in this series. You look at it by inning. The first inning, Padres run themselves out of that inning. Not a good base running decision by Luis Ariz, who tried to get the third base on the infield single by Fernando Tatis Jr. Gets kicked away. Manny Machado grounds into a double play. Inning is over. So the Padres could have had runners on first and second, nobody out in that inning. They sort of ran themselves out of the inning. The fourth inning, leadoff man on, they don't score. They do get 2 runs in the sixth inning, 3 straight hits to begin that inning, but then can't get anything more. The seventh inning, 2 on, 1 out, they don't score. Eighth inning, Fernando Tatis Jr. on second base with nobody out, they don't score. And that was that. The Padres mustered 2 hits in the span of 3 batters in the sixth inning, the only runs they scored in this game. And it brings us back to really what is the disappointing aspect of this series in the 4 games. The Padres starting pitching in this series, and yes, Dylan Cease put him behind 3-0 tonight, made a couple of mistakes. That's true. But you look at what Padres starting pitching did the last 4 games of this road trip between Cease, Major, Waldron, and King. A combined 25 innings and a third, 6 runs given up, a 2.15 ERA from those guys, and the Padres didn't win a single one of these games. Super frustrating, really, really is. So, look, there's a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about, not to mention Manny Machado coming out of the game with an injury when he ran down the first baseline in the 4th inning. When we come back, we'll hear from Mike Shildt. I'm sure have an update on Manny, but a very, very frustrating series against the Angels, and sort of feels like you're back at square one, right? With the Padres now below 500 at 32 and 33, and the injury for Manny, obviously not good news either for a team that is all of a sudden pretty banged up with Joe on the IL, Yu Darvish on the IL. We'll see what Manny Machado's status is. Luis Ariz, missing the game on Monday, playing through some soreness still. Not great all of a sudden. Really not great in the injury department. And on the field the last few days, not great either. We'll hear from Mike Shildt when we come back. That's after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, Angels 3, Padres 2. Another very frustrating night for the Padres as they get swept by the Angels. They've dropped 4 in a row. They dropped to 32 and 33 on the season. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Manny Machado also came out of this game with an injury after injuring himself while running down the first baseline in the 4th inning. So let's get the update on Manny. Mike Shildt's thoughts on tonight's game. Let's hear from the Padres skipper up in Anaheim.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Mike, what's the status of Manny?
Day-to-day, mild low-grade strain of like the upper hip flexor. So still evaluating it, but it's clearly something, and it'll be day-to-day, and we'll see about tomorrow. But it seems like it's mild in substance, but still in the wing.
You were out there with him. It looked like he was really doing what he could to stay in the game. Was it a possibility, and kind of how did it all play out there?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a competitor. He's a warrior. He wants to compete, and but when he deals with something like that, let's just err on the side of caution. You know, he's got to go first or third right there. Aggravates it. I think we'd shoot ourselves in the foot. So, you know, just said, hey, let's just get this behind us and get it taken care of.
Did he ask to stay in the game?
Yeah, of course he's wanting to stay in the game. Yeah, I mean, he was like, let me see what it looks like. And it's like, just don't find out about a soft tissue, you know, when you got to run the bases. You know, something else may be different.
Did he say if he suffered it right as he was hitting first or coming out of the box?
I didn't get the intel on that. I don't know when he felt it. I know he was getting down the line pretty good to beat the double play out, so I imagine it was closer to the bag.
How tough is a series like this one?
Tough one. Tough series. Yeah, I'm not going to kid you. I mean, listen, started the road trip 2-0 and can't pick up another win on the road, you know, and lose 3 here. And, yeah, I mean, today, another unusual game. 2 swings got us, but they were 2 big swings. You know, the Silva homer to start the inning, and Neto, who's maybe a kept secret in this game. This kid's a nice player. Kid's a very nice player. You know, he played a really nice shortstop and put a good swing on the ball last night and got a 2-run homer tonight. So, you know, he did a nice job. But you know, he put 2 swings on baseballs, and you know, we took a lot of good swings, a lot of good bats, had traffic, had opportunities. Other than that, pitched extremely well. Bullpen kept it there, and we just couldn't bring it home.
Your team has a below 500 record against. You're doing worse against teams that are below 500.
That's
you do
correct.
better against better teams. It seems confusing.
It's you know, it's an outlier for sure. You know, clearly we've got the team to beat anybody. But we didn't show up and play well against this club, and to their credit, outside of one play, they executed the whole series and they played good baseball and they got good pitching, and Soriano was, you know, a good sinker going and kept balls in the ground, and we got opportunities, got in their bullpen. We just couldn't get over the hump.
The nature of a baseball season being what it is, you've got a big series coming up this weekend. How do you kind of put this behind
We
you?
keep going. Yeah, that's the one thing about, you know, our group and this game is it's the beauty of it. And sometimes, you know, there's another game tomorrow, and we'll be ready to show up and get after it at home. We're looking forward to getting home and getting on the good side of things.
It was clear to see what Arise thought was going to be possible there in the first inning.
Yes.
He was out by a lot.
He was. I mean, yeah, that's a play that, like, it's right in front of him. He makes the decision. You know, Louis' instincts are good. Pretty much our base running instincts are good. It's in front of him. He's looking to make a play. It's not a play to work on. You know, they kick away at third. But he saw it, took a shot at it. It didn't work out. But I'll trust our players and Louis' instincts.
It's part of what you meant by kind of a weird series. A few plays.
Absolutely. I mean, you get up and he takes a good at bat, lines one into right center. Toddy, you know, starts a 4-hit night, you know, with the ball down the line, he kicks away. And, you know, sometimes it just doesn't proverbially bounce your way. You know, we're trying to make a play and they make a third, and we got double play, we got some action, and then it's, you know, we're back on our heels a little bit. But, you know, the fight was in the club tonight. The bats were good. Again, the pitching outside of 2 swings was good. Just one of those games that we weren't supposed to win, evidently.
Louis DH yesterday at first today.
Yes, sir.
Got plunked yesterday. He's good for defense now. The injuries are behind
Yeah,
him.
yeah. I mean, you know, I think the hit by pitch, probably some soreness, more of a question for him. That wasn't impactful of him being able to play. And, you know, he threw today and played first today. So, looks like he's on the good side of the soreness.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios after the Padres fall 3-2 at the hands of the LA Angels. They're swept by the Angels. Padres have lost 4 in a row. Let's start with the update there earlier in the post-game press conference from Mike Shildt. Manny Machado exiting the game with what Mike Shildt called a mild low-grade strain of the upper hip flexor. We didn't get a side of the hip, but it looked like from where Manny was sort of grabbing as he crossed first base, probably the right side of his hip. So again, Machado exiting the game with what was called a mild to low grade strain of the upper hip flexor. Mike Shildt then saying, right now it's day to day. So we'll see. We'll see what the deal is for tomorrow and in the days to come. You certainly hope Manny can avoid an IL stint, but as we know, strains can be tricky. So hopefully nothing too major, too serious for Manny Machado, or that causes Manny to miss too much time. Look, the rest of it there. Obviously, a very frustrating series. And look, the Padres got great starting pitching. They faced an Angels team that was well below 500 entering this series. The Padres scored a grand total of 5 runs in this series. And look, Tyler Anderson, quality left-hander on Monday night. Patrick Sandoval, another left-hander. Padres have struggled against lefties on Tuesday night. Here tonight, a guy in Jose Soriano who throws hard, and then an Angels bullpen that has not been all that great this year. 5 runs, just generally, it's not going to get it done, right? So Padres don't score a ton. They did get great starting pitching, and look, to Mike Shildt's point, there were a few swings in this series that led to the Angels winning these games, and the Padres couldn't counter. So that was the problem in this series, and obviously for a lot of reasons, a very, very frustrating series against the Angels up in Anaheim. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll recap this game in its entirety. We'll have the radio highlights for you and continue to break this one down. Final score, Angels 3, Padres 2. More post-game after this. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, Angels 3, Padres 2. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as the Padres struggles against teams with under 500 records continue. Padres drop to 19-22 on the season against teams that are below 500, at least when the Padres played them. 19-22, 13-11 against everybody else. And if you look at history, and we saw this last season as well with the Padres, if you look at history, it is very hard to be a postseason team when you don't win more than you lose against teams that are under 500. It's just the way it is. So there's no doubt about it when you look at some of the big themes of this season as the Padres now find themselves under 500 themselves at 32-33 after tonight in this 4-game losing skid, that playing significantly better against teams that are under 500, teams with losing records, that's got to be something that turns around in a very big way. Before we get to our game highlights, I just wanted to read a couple of quotes here. Kevin Acee of the San Diego Union-Tribune just putting out a piece that focuses on tonight's game, but also on the Padres' struggles against teams with losing records. And these quotes, it appears, were from this afternoon, so before the game, but I think they're worth reading here, and I'm sure we'll have many more quotes that come out from after the game later tonight. We'll see if we get any post-game audio from the clubhouse. We may not hear tonight, but I just want to read a few of these again. This is from earlier this afternoon from this article, Kevin Acee in the San Diego Union-Tribune. Manny Machado saying, quote, "These games are probably going to come and haunt us." Jake Cronenworth saying, quote, "We play good against good teams and we play bad against teams with bad records. It can't happen. We've done it in the past. Same thing. We need to find a way to switch that. These are series we need to win." And again, appears those were said, those quotes came from earlier this afternoon. So look, no secret to those guys that you can't afford to play the way they did against the Angels, bottom line. And we'll see if the Padres can turn things around against the Diamondbacks starting tomorrow. Frustrating night in Anaheim. Let's break it all down with our game recap.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
Let's start in the first inning. Luis Arraez led off with a single. Fernando Tatis Jr. then hit an infield single that bounced right by the third base bag. It got kicked into foul territory. Arraez tried to go for third. He was thrown out. Not a great base running play from Arraez. A double play for Manny Machado ended the inning. So we had a 0-0 game go into the bottom half of the first inning. Dylan Cease took the mound for San Diego. Nolan Shawnuel led off.
2-2 to Shawnuel. Cease will deliver. And the pitch is swung on, sent in the air, high and deep to right center. Merrill and Tatis are both back at the wall, looking up, gonna go. Home run for Nolan Shawnuel. His 6th of the year, a leadoff shot. And the Angels take a 1-0 lead.
Fast forward to the bottom half of the second. There was a runner on with 2 outs for Zach Neto.
O'Hoppy's small lead at first. The 1-1 pitch hit in the air to deep left field. Profar's backing up. Still going back. At the wall. Jumps up. Gonna go. Second homer of the night for the Angels. This one a 2-run shot for Neto. They lead it 3-0 here in the second.
So the Padres were down 3-0. It stayed that way for a while as Jose Soriano began his night with 5 scoreless innings. During that stretch, Manny Machado exited the game with what looked like a leg injury he sustained while running down to first base and beating out a double play ball. In the top of the 6th inning, and again, we heard the update on Manny from Mike Shildt. I'll get to that after the recap if you missed it. In the top of the 6th inning, the Padres got it going, trailing 3-0. Luis Campusano singled to start the inning. That snapped an 0 for 26 for Campy. Luis Arraez was next.
Here's a hard hit grounder the other way. That's a fair ball up the third base line. Campusano rounding second, going to try. Ward will come up throwing, not in time. And into second goes Arraez as the ball goes over toward the Padre dugout. Campusano will score. Arraez goes to third. And just like that, the Padres are on the board.
Fernando Tatis Jr. was next.
Here's the pitch. Fernando swings, loops it into shallow right. Adele charging, tried to make the underhand catch and couldn't. Left it on the grass. Arise will score. It's a one-run game in the sixth.
So the inning for the Padres, they got 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error by the Angels outfield. That's all the Padres got in the top of the 6th inning. It ended up being a quality outing by definition for Dylan Cease. He gave up the 2 early home runs, but that was it. 6 innings, 3 runs allowed tonight for Cease. Adam Simber pitched the top of the 7th inning for the Angels. He dealt a 1-2-3 inning. Wandy Peralta pitched a scoreless bottom half of the inning. We went to the 8th inning. Flamethrower Ben Joyce came on. We told you about Ben Joyce at the very start of this series, how hard he throws. He was throwing fastballs at 103 miles per hour, but Fernando Tatis Jr. led off with a single. He went to second base on a wild pitch, so the Padres had the tying run in scoring position with nobody out, but the next 3 batters went down in order against Joyce. Padres, the mix of Peralta and Brito, they ended up throwing a scoreless bottom half of the 8th inning. So the Padres trailed by just 1, down 3-2. Going to the top of the 9th inning, left-hander Matt Moore came on with Angels closer Carlos Estevez. Not pitching tonight after throwing the first 2 games of this series. Matt Moore retired the side in order. And that was that here tonight. Final score, Angels 3, Padres 2. Again, with the defeat, Padres now 32-33. Angels improved their record to 24-38. Padres have lost 4 in a row and get swept by the Angels up in Anaheim. And like I alluded to earlier, just think about where the Padres were just a little bit more than 72 hours ago, 3 days ago, on the verge of sweeping the Royals, a 2-run lead heading into the 9th inning. Things went really poorly for Yuki Matsui. And ever since that 9th inning, Padres are not having a lot of things go their way, including the injury to Manny Machado. And again, in case you missed Mike Shildt in our previous segment, Machado was removed from the game, hurt himself running down to first base in the 4th inning. Manny exited the game with what is being called a mild to low-grade strain of the upper hip flexor. Mike Shildt called it day-to-day, so we'll see what the news is in the next day or two for Manny. Hopefully a situation where he can avoid an IL stint. We'll step aside here on the Padres Radio Network. When we come back, we'll get to some of our daily awards. Full out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit as well. If you want to get involved on the phones, you can do that. I can't promise I have all the answers for you, but I'm here for emotional support. Phone number, as always, 833-288-0973. Again, the phone number, 833-288-0973. The phone number to call if you want to get involved. If you want to get involved on Twitter, Instagram, handles there, Sammy Lev, SAMMYLEV. You can tweet at me or Instagram DM me. And also, as always, may read some of the comments from our video streams. Angels win it 3-2. Padres swept up in Anaheim. More post-game coverage after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, Angels 3 and the Padres 2. Tough one in Anaheim. Tough series, no doubt about that. The Padres scored just a grand total of 5 runs in this 3-game series. An Angels team that started this series 17 games below 500. And I feel like I've said enough about this series so far. This game here tonight, Padres fell behind 3-0, could not recover. Interesting outing for Dylan Cease. Obviously didn't put his team in a great spot tonight. 2 home runs given up in the first 2 innings, down 3-0. But look, 6 innings, 3 runs given up. It was a quality start by the definition. And I think you zoom out at this 4-game losing streak. I said the number earlier, Padres, their starting pitchers in these 4 games, they've got a 2.15 ERA. I mean, again, Michael King on Sunday in Kansas City, 7 innings, 1 run given up. Then you had Matt Waldron in the series opener here, 6 innings and a third, 1 run. Adam Mazur in his major league debut last night, 6 innings, 1 run. And Dylan Cease, 6 innings, 3 runs given up here tonight. So I don't know that I can put any of these 4 games on the starting pitching. Of course, look, you don't want to see Cease give up the 2 early home runs. But I think a lot of these 4 games sort of squarely on the offense. And hey, look, there were 2 bullpen moments, and they both involved Yuki Matsui, especially on Sunday, that were not great. You do kind of, it's funny, and I'll just quickly say this because I do want to get to phone calls and I do want to keep rolling here on the post game. But it is interesting because we talked about it on Sunday, right? How games affect other games, how the early part of a series can affect the later part of the series. You do wonder, and I don't know if any of the games go differently here in Anaheim. You do wonder, though, if Stephen Kolek in the road trip opener does a better job and gets through that game, closes out that win, and the Padres never have to go to Robert Suarez on the Friday night, that meaning he would be available for the Sunday game. And let's say the same thing happens. Suarez comes in, same game, he closes the door. You do sweep the Royals. You do sort of wonder, like, okay, would you have got swept in Anaheim? Just baseball's a funny game. We talk about these games, especially here on the pre and post game. We have such a focus on each and every night, but how the games can be intertwined can be very interesting. And it shows you why, and I said this on Sunday, why every part of your team, no matter who it is, what role they have, everybody has their role. So, and doing it well is important. Just a thought for you. You can kind of relate, game to game. So, anyway, tough one here tonight. Tough series, certainly in Anaheim. Padres will try to come back home, start a 7-game homestand tomorrow against first the Diamondbacks for 4 and then 3 against the A's. Before we get to some phone calls, let's tell you about our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Relief pitcher of the game here tonight. We'll stay on the Padres side of things because, quite frankly, this is where I think we can stay on the Padres side of things tonight. Wandy Peralta, we'll give it to him. You look at his work tonight. Inning and a third scoreless, did give up a couple of hits, but at the end of the day, kept it a 1-run game in the 7th and then the 8th, getting the first out of the 8th inning. So for that reason, Wandy Peralta, our relief pitcher of the game here tonight. Positive for the Padres tonight, so for relief pitcher, we stay with Wandy. All right, let's go to the phones here, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call, and as I usually say, I don't promise to have all the answers, but I am here for you after a frustrating series in Anaheim. Let's begin with our guy Gonzo calling in from Ocean Beach. Hi, Gonzo. You're on the Padres Radio Network.
Hi, Sammy. I appreciate you being there for us, buddy.
You got it always, Gonzo. You know me.
I do know you. And I did like your hypothetical for the beginning of the Royals thing.
Yep.
So my hypothetical could the first inning made a bigger difference in the game that we're not kind of putting together? Like, I don't know if you got it off the top or on your computer. If we scored first, how many games has Cease won compared to us coming back? Because I felt at that first top of the first inning when Arias rounded second, we rounded. He got the stop sign. Could have been first and second.
Yeah.
No double play to end the inning. And I was wondering if maybe that one run, or hopefully that one run, could have made Cease pitch a little differently and not giving up that.
Yeah, Gonzo, good call, and it's a fair question. Let me address a couple of things on first what the Padres have been when they score first this year. The Padres, let me just update the number in my head here. The Padres actually scored first in the first 2 games of this series. Is that accurate? First 2 games of this series? Yes, they did last night, and they did the night before with the Manny home run. So the Padres are now 24-5 in games where they score first after last night, because they didn't score first here today. 24-5 in games where they score first. So by the numbers, Gonzo, you have a point. Usually when they score first, they win. Didn't do that here tonight, but 24-5 in games where they scored first. So, look, I think it is fair to look at this game here tonight and play up the hypothetical. If Arias doesn't get thrown out at third, let's say you do end up scoring a run or two in that first inning, because, look, you've got a good situation there if Arias never tries to go to third. Runners on first and second with nobody out instead of just a runner on first base with 1 out. Manny grounds into the double play, inning over. Now, who knows? They might not end up scoring anyway, even with first and second and nobody out. But the math says, the win-loss record says that the Padres usually win when they score first. Now, does it change what Dylan Cease does? I don't know. I mean, it's the bottom half of the first inning. He was in a scoreless game. I don't know that it would have changed what Dylan Cease did, Gonzo, but they do usually win when they score first. So there is something to that, and you can, just by that win-loss record, again, 24-5 when they score first this season, you can kind of think up a scenario where, hey, you get a run or two in that first inning, maybe it changes the complexion of this game. We'll never know, but just so everybody knows out there, yeah, when the Padres score first, it usually means good things. Let's go to Tyler calling in from San Diego. Hi, Tyler. You're on the Padres postgame show. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Driving down now from L.A. Tough watch.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering there in the 8th, after Tatis got on, why we didn't think about maybe putting in Wade to try to bunt the runner over to third, bunt Tatis over to third. I don't think we've been utilizing Wade that much. Maybe it's an idea. I mean, the few batters afterwards still would have done the same thing. But
yeah, Tyler. Look, I understand what you're saying. I think the thinking there, and I do agree with it. I think the thinking there, whether you're going to use Wade or Solano in that spot, like. Solano's been around a long time. You can probably get a bunt down too. But the thinking there, I would imagine, remember, he's on second base already, so he's in scoring position. So you're essentially getting 3 cracks at a base hit to tie the game, rather than giving up an out to put him at third base, where you're right. You do, when he's at third base, all it means is that next batter, he's got to get a fly ball deep enough, and you tie the game, but you're giving up a pretty important out there, and he's already in scoring position. Quite frankly, I'd be more inclined to bunt if he's on first base, and you don't want him to steal, fine. Then try to bunt him over, get into scoring position so you have a couple of cracks at him on second base. But that would be the thinking there, Tyler. I don't think a lot of teams are going to bunt that runner over to third base in that spot down by 1 when he's already in scoring position. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm just thinking, I mean, the Angels made a couple of errors tonight. Wade's a fast runner. Maybe just putting the ball in play and having to force the Angels to make a play. Maybe they make an error. Maybe Wade can run it down and actually get a runner on first.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
but I see your point.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Look, hey, Tyler, you could be right. For all we know, they bunt the runner over, fly ball deep enough, and they end up tying the game. But I think a lot of teams are not going to bunt that runner over because they don't want to give up the out there. He's already in scoring position. But Tyler, appreciate the phone call. Thank you for listening. Hope you had a fun time at the ball game despite the final score. Let's go to OC calling in. Hi, OC. You're on the Padres postgame show. What's up?
Hey, Sam, thanks for having me on there, man.
Tyler
kind of stole my moment. It's, I think, 2 games. It's in Anaheim, we missed the opportunity to maybe move the runner over, especially when our batters are struggling, man. It's just put the damn ball in play, man, and see what happens,
Yeah.
I think that situational baseball is lacking from our team. And,
Yeah.
I turned over to my best friend today. It's like, what the heck is the answer to our team, man? What's wrong with them?
Well,
the answer from him was like, we're just a scrappy 500 team.
Yeah, look, OC, at some point, and again, and appreciate the phone call. You said you were at the game tonight up there?
Yeah,
all
3
right,
days
cool.
in a row.
Oh, good. Oh, well, sorry you didn't see some better final scores. But OC, thank you for the phone call. Hope you had a good time regardless. Look, it's funny with this team so far, right? Because when they've been at their best offensively, it has been a team that we've praised at times for stringing hits together, for, I think, at times playing good situational baseball as far as their offense. I do. There have been stretches and innings and examples of that. But then there have been times where it has totally flipped the other way. Look, tonight was a good example of the Padres not cashing in with runners in scoring position, not, finding ways to string hits together, play good situational baseball. They were 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position here tonight. So for the series, they were 3 for 20 with runners in scoring position. 3 for 20. So that's not very good. And you look at this game here tonight, I sort of rattled off the innings in the opening segment, but you had the first inning where they ran themselves out of the inning with Rise getting thrown out at third base and the Manny double play ball after that. 4th inning, leadoff man on. The 6th inning, now they had 2 runs in the span of 3 hits. They got some help with the error on the throw from Ward and lefts, but after that, they were unable to string more hits together in that inning, but they did get a couple of runs. 7th inning, 2 on with 1 out. 8th inning, 2 on with 1 out in the 7th inning, didn't score. 8th inning, they had Fernando on second base, the tying run, nobody out, didn't score. So, yeah, there were a lot of opportunities out there tonight, and that was sort of the story of this series. I mean, really, great starting pitching they got, and unable to cash in, and unable to find the big hit in a lot of cases. So that's, that was the story of this series. So you're onto something, OC. They did not find ways to manufacture runs. I mean, we saw it on Monday. We saw it on Tuesday. We saw it here tonight. Tonight may be a little bit different because the damage for the Angels came on the home run ball. Padres did not have a home run in this series. So, I'm sorry. Yes, they did. Manny Machado, the home run in the first game. But aside from that, not another home run in this series. So we shall see if the situational baseball and the runners in scoring position, if that's better at home. Of course, at home, the Padres have struggled offensively far more than they have on the road. So this is going to be an interesting homestand coming up because, as Mike Shildt said, a very frustrating trip because you started 2-0 and you end the trip 2-4. And again, now instead of coming home with what you felt like should be a feel-good road trip and being, at least a handful of games above 500, you somehow come home now after a series against the Angels and you are a game below, which is a little hard to believe considering really where the Padres were heading into Sunday. But that's baseball for you. Can change fast, can come at you very, very fast. All right, let's continue on with some of our daily awards here. Let's tell you about our player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Patties and Pints. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
Player of the game tonight, you know, I was leaning towards giving it to an Angel, but, you know, I'm actually going to give it to Fernando. And I know there may be people out there, because I tweeted out Fernando was 4 for 4 tonight, and there were people that were not very happy with me because of what was happening on the scoreboard, but it was worth noting. I'm giving it to Fernando, though, because he was 4 for 4 tonight, which is totally going to get lost in the shuffle of this game. But 4 for 4, RBI single to make it a one-run game. He had the single that got the tying run on in the 8th inning. So he was productive tonight, all singles, but albeit productive. He extended his hitting streak to 11 games. Trying to pull up the numbers here that I had pregame. Give me a moment on Fernando. But it is worth talking about for a moment because he really has played better, hit the ball better in this last stretch. Fernando is now in the midst of an 11-game hitting streak. He was batting .375 in the streak entering today. I'm not going to go look it up now where he is right now after the 11-game streak, 4 for 4. I would imagine it's above 400 now. So look, in the big picture and now considering Manny's injury, man, having Fernando be Fernando and go on a real run here, it's going to be really important if Manny's going to miss, you know, any or a lot of time. Really important. So that is a bright spot here tonight. I think that's true. Another good night for Fernando. Hopefully he continues it here at home. So Padres could use that in a big, big way, Fernando, to really get it going. So we'll give it to Fernando, our player of the game, here tonight on the Padres Radio Network. When we come back, out-of-town scoreboard, play of the game, wrap things up, get you ready for tomorrow. More post-game coverage after this. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score up in Anaheim, Angels 3, Padres 2. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we approach 10 p.m. in America's finest city. A road trip that started very, very nicely. Padres were 2-0 after Saturday, but does not end well as the Padres drop a fourth consecutive game to the Angels here tonight. We'll see if the Padres can get back on track tomorrow against Arizona. If you want to squeeze a phone call in, we've already had a number of calls tonight. You can do that, 833-288-0973. I would suggest you get your call in now because we are in our final segment here of the night. A lot going on around the major leagues. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
Everything final in the major leagues today. Mets beat the Nationals in D.C. 9-1. Former Padre Luis Torrens, or Torrens. I've heard it pronounced both ways. In the minor leagues in Amarillo, we said Torrens, and I asked him, but I've heard people say Torrens. So anyway, Luis Torrens, couple of home runs for the Mets in that one. Padres fans, do you remember Luis? I was not aware he was on the Mets now until a couple of days ago, but 2 home runs for him. Mets win at 9-1 in D.C. Red Sox beat the Braves 9-0 at Fenway Park. Rafael Devers, couple of home runs in that game for the Sox. Cardinals 4, Astros 2 in Houston. Nolan Arenado, a home run in that one. Reds beat the Rockies 12-7 in Colorado. Jonathan India, a grand slam in that game. Giants beat the D-backs 9-3 in Arizona. Wilmer Flores, a grand slam in that one for San Francisco. Phillies beat the Brewers 2-0 in Philadelphia. Nick Castellanos, a 2-run home run for the Phillies. Pirates beat the Dodgers 10-6 in Pittsburgh. Rays beat the Marlins 5-3 in Miami. Yankees beat the Twins 9-5 in New York. Blue Jays beat the Orioles 3-2 in Toronto. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa walk-off base hit in that one for the Blue Jays. Cubs beat the White Sox 7-6 in Chicago. Mike Tauchman, a walk-off home run in that game for the Cubbies. Rangers beat the Tigers 9-1 in Arlington. Jonah Heim, a 2-run home run in that game for the Rangers. A's beat the Mariners 2-1 in Oakland. Zach Geloff, a home run for Oakland, and 1 rainout today. Royals and the Guardians in Cleveland. They'll make that game up in August. And that's a look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Wednesday. Final score in Anaheim tonight, Angels 3, Padres 2. Let's hear our play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Well, Hobby's small lead at first. The 1-1 pitch hit in the air to deep left field. Profar's backing up, still going back. At the wall, jumps up, gonna go. Second homer of the night for the Angels. This one a 2-run shot for Neto. They lead it 3-0 here in the second.
Zach Neto, 2-run home run, our play of the game here tonight. Gave the Angels a 3-0 lead. Padres could never quite recover. Got 2 in the 6th inning, but that was it. So Neto, play of the game. The home run. That was Neto's second really big hit of this series. Had the 2-run double yesterday to give the Angels the lead and a big 2-run home run in this one here tonight. All right, taking a look ahead to tomorrow. Padres are back home tomorrow. First pitch tomorrow at 6:40 p.m. against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show from inside the Western Metal Building at Petco Park will begin at 5:40. Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres, and right-hander Slade Ciccone on the mound for the D-backs. It'll be the first game of a 4-game series, first game of a 7-game homestand against Arizona and Oakland. I do want to tell you about a couple of promotions here the Padres have coming up this week during this homestand because they're really cool. So I just want to make sure everybody knows about them because they are really, really cool. And you know what? Let's end the night talking about something fun in what was not a very fun series against the Angels. Tomorrow, the Xander Bogaerts bobblehead giveaway. So that's tomorrow night, just so you know. First 40,000 fans get it tomorrow. And then Tuesday night, and as I said earlier, my man Nick DiNucci in the studio, he's going to want this one. I know it. I know Nick's going to want this one. The Job Musgrove basketball jersey giveaway. So that's Tuesday, June 11th. So that's later on during the homestand. So 2 cool giveaways. Just want to let you know about them. And the night talking about something a little bit more fun. But again, first pitch tomorrow at 6:40. Pregame coverage begins at 5:40 from downtown San Diego. Once again, if you have missed any of our post-game show, you can listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt. You can find it on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. You can also go back and watch our entire post-game show on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel if you missed any of tonight's show. Taking a look at the final totals in Anaheim tonight. For the Angels, 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. They left on 3. For the Padres, 2 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. They left on 6. Winning pitcher Jose Soriano, who improves to 3-5. Losing pitcher Dylan Cease, who drops to 5-5. Save goes to Matt Moore, his first of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 18 minutes at the Crowd at Angel Stadium in Anaheim, 31,960. Once again, first pitch tomorrow at 6:40. Pre-game coverage begins at 5:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Nick DiNucci, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night. Again, the final score, the Los Angeles Angels 3 and the San Diego Padres 2. We'll talk to you tomorrow from Petco Park on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night.